For January 30th, 2017, this is episode 49 of the Prattlecast featuring Razzle and Shake.
That was a very quick intro.
I know. I figure why even bother with the intro? The real substance was when you get into the podcast.
Yeah, but that was so formal.
So informal.
Yeah, we're gonna have to work on that.
Well, you know what? You hated it whenever I would say, this is Razzle, and I'm joined by Shake. So now I've started saying featuring Razzle and Shake as a means
I didn't actually care.
Well, it happened.
Whatever.
It's changed. It's done. It's taken care of. So it's been done by committee. The votes.
The committee of one person.
Well, I am in the introductory committee of the podcast.
I guess. I'm just in the closing committee, and I argue with myself every week about it.
Believe me, the opening committee has some very, very nefarious meeting notes.
I don't want to know about it. I think I've asked you this before, but I need to ask you a question again.
All right, let's go.
How familiar are you with the Resident Evil movies?
I've seen the first one and had no interest in watching after that.
In your professional opinion, I consider you a professional on Resident Evil.
That is scary.
You're all I've got. You're my only hope.
All right.
Would you say that movie that you watched is relevant to Resident Evil in any way?
No, not if you're talking about the video games, no.
Well, that's the only thing the movie can be based on.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the video games had a novelization spin-off, and they've had those anime movies come out, and, Resident Evil is everywhere, so... But yeah, it's not relevant.
Wasn't the Nemesis creature that was in the movie in the game?
Yes.
So is that relevant?
No, it's relevant in the same way. If you've ever seen Ninja Turtles Part 2, The Secret of the Ooze, have you ever seen that?
A very long time ago.
It's relevant in the same way as that wolf and turtle creature are relevant to Bebop and Rocksteady.
Okay.
That's because, I think even originally that movie, that Ninja Turtles movie, I think they wanted to have Bebop and Rocksteady, but they couldn't do it. I don't know if it was a rights issue or if they just couldn't do the costumes or what the hell ever. But no, I mean, it's relevant in that way, maybe, sure, but it's not relevant. It's a whole other timeline. It's a whole other universe with its own version of Jill Valentine and these characters. It has nothing to do with...
Jill is in the movie?
From what I hear, yeah. Yeah, Jill. I think Chris might be in one.
No, I don't think any of them are.
Yeah, I think they are. I'm pretty positive that eventually.
Oh no, I remember Chris does make an appearance. It is very sad. It's sad to watch because it doesn't. No, it's not good.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is that those characters
Claire's
that exist
the big
in those
one in the movies.
Well, Claire's in the games too. Claire's a big star in Part 2, as well as Code Veronica, and also she played a very big role in the Revelations 2. But none of that really matters because the video games has its own storyline that's independent of whatever the hell the films did. I don't even know how many movies there are. I know that they just released the last one.
I believe at this point there's 5.
I thought there would be 8.
Or maybe 6 tops, because I have somebody gave me the original trilogy like I wanted it. And I was just like, huh? Why? I don't want this. And I think at least 2 more came out after that. Max 3. But I'm not 100% sure of that. But anyway, this, there was a conversation had about the series, because this is their final one. They're finally ending it, and it went out with a whimper. Because the movies are bad, and they just get worse as it goes on. And there's a general consensus, at least a majority of people that are saying, not everybody, because I'm sure there are people that are fans of the games that also really like the movies for other reasons, but that a lot of other fans of the game hate the movies, and people will not watch them. But yet there was a conversation had with creators of the film that were like, oh yeah, this is the highest grossing video game movie franchise ever made. And I sat and thought about it. And hasn't Resident Evil really been the only video game to be given a chance to have that kind of a franchise and actually have it like funded and work? Because Silent Hill had a good chance, but then their main director got arrested for murder, which is so fitting for a director of that movie. And like after the second movie, they had to stop because they couldn't anymore because the director is in jail for the rest of his life.
So
But
you mean like video game movies in
yeah,
terms
like
of?
Resident Evil is apparently the highest grossing one ever made, and I don't think it's deserving of that at any
No.
rate. I don't think those movies deserve to have made as much money as they have and to be bundled in as a video game movie franchise because it's not. It just shares a title. But have any other games ever been given that kind of chance? I know we had Silent Hill, which
I mean, well, the
they
thing
were
is, we've
both
had
okay.
like plenty of video game movies, but none of them have been. I don't think any of them has. I can't think of one that's had as many movies as Resident Evil right off the top of my head. I'd have to think about it. Maybe there is
I
one
don't
that I'm
think
just
they
not
have, but I
remembering.
don't think they've been given like the chance.
Because if you look at it, it's Mario Brothers, where they completely dropped the ball with that movie.
Oh yes.
Double Dragon completely dropped the ball with that movie. One thing that could actually be a great film franchise if Nintendo would ever work it out would be Zelda. I could see that one taking off
Yeah,
huge.
like live action.
Yeah, and they were, I know there was that rumor for a while that they were going to go to Netflix, and I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm pretty sure Nintendo wanted to do its own independent thing anyway, so if they were going to do a TV show outside of obviously the cartoon from way back, but like a live action Zelda TV show, then they'd probably want to do it on their own Nintendo platform to try to sell more hardware. Um, because that seems to be how they rely on their IPs now. Their IPs sell their hardware. Like Zelda and Mario has always got to have something to do with that anytime you release Nintendo anything. So, yeah, they've got IPs and that's about it. That's Nintendo.
You didn't see the Silent Hill movies. You probably didn't
Mm,
have an interest in
I
those.
saw the first one. I saw the
Okay,
first movie.
wow. The first one, if you look at it outside of it being Silent Hill, it's okay. Like it's like I could watch it. I could watch it again. But like when you look at it from Silent Hill, it's horrible. But then when they
Well,
came
I don't
out
know.
with the second movie, it like was so on cue with the third game. I loved it. It was so great. Except like they had one major floundering point. Like one of the main bad guys in the series, the Pyramid Head creature, they kind of made him a hero, which was strange. Like he saves the girl. So I thought that was odd. But I thought the Silent Hill movies had a really good chance at being something really good.
I thought like, okay, I played the first Silent Hill way back in the day, and then years later I saw the first Silent Hill movie, and to me it looked very similar to the game I remembered playing. Um,
Oh, I would
either through the,
agree. It has the Silent Hill look, and Sean Bean is a perfect little player there.
I mean, he would have been perfect for the lead, but I know they wanted to do a switcheroo there
Yeah, which
for the movie.
I understand,
But
but
I thought it had followed the story closer than I guess I was remembering the story, because I remembered the story in terms of, he's in the car, he's got the little girl, and the girl goes missing. He meets the blonde cop, and they go out and they meet this other guy who's in a suit. This is kind of my vague recollection of Silent Hill that I haven't played since it
yeah, they're
actually
in a car
released. So
accident. She runs off. He needs to find her.
yeah, but don't they
All that
do a lot
stuff.
of the same things in the movie that they did in the game?
They do, but I think my biggest issue with the movie was the way it ended.
I
With
don't even
like
remember.
the mom comes home with the little girl, but the husband can't see them.
Oh yeah, okay, I do
Like they're
remember
gone
that.
forever.
Yeah.
And I know they did that to try to explain to mainstream people how Silent Hill works. It's essentially once you're there, it's not you don't really have that chance to come back most of the time. Some people do, but they did not. They were kind of damned to stay. And then the second movie is that same little girl grown up. And
Okay.
she's with the dad. Don't know how all of a sudden he can see her. They don't explain that at all. That's the only thing I didn't like about the first movie is that I don't understand why they did that because it doesn't make sense because it makes you think that they're dead, that they're gone, but then the girl's there in the second movie. She's just older. But the second movie is based off of Silent Hill 3, and I thought that was so good. Oh, it was delicious.
I haven't seen it or played it, so I couldn't say.
Oh, we're gonna have to do it. We're gonna have to go on that journey together.
One
But yeah,
day.
the Resident Evil movie is the highest grossing video game movie franchise ever made, and that makes me sad. But
Why?
it's over. I guess like Claire Redfield had a big part in the final movie, but it was not received very well. It was in the top 10 movies of the month or whatever, but it didn't do as well as they had expected it to. And apparently, their video game that they just released isn't doing as well as they wanted it to either.
Yeah, I saw that when I was scrolling through Twitter today that they did not sell as many copies as they hoped to, and their stocks were plummeting. And I just sat back, smirked, and scrolled on by.
I figured you would get some sick, twisted pleasure out of that. Like, yes,
Wouldn't
watch
even
as
call
you
it sick and
crumble.
twisted. I think that Capcom, in their infinite wisdom, for whatever reason, trying to appeal to a group of fans who will never be happy with what they do, has turned their game into something that is beyond recognition to me. And I've played plenty of Resident Evil games, and I have enjoyed even the crappiest of them, but I will not touch RE7 because every time I look at Resident Evil 7, all I can see is Outlast, or I see that other stupid game that I can never remember the name of.
Amnesia?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I don't
I
know the
don't know.
names of these. But the point is, I don't see Resident Evil. I see Hills Have Eyes. I see random generic horror film number 7. And I guess that's why it is RE7. But that's just my opinion. That's just me. Other people should go out and play it and have fun with it. I don't care. I don't care if the game does well or does poorly. Until they return
Hmm.
back to something that even looks remotely like a Resident Evil game, I'm staying away. I'm staying away.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet. I'm going to. Even though the more I watch it, the more I'm convinced I'm not gonna like it after an hour or two. But I thought it was funny that they're upset about the way their films are going. They're upset about the game.
Well,
They should,
they half-ass everything.
they just
I
should
mean,
take a
they
hint.
they
Buy the
just
vowel.
half-ass everything. They had this great idea. I think it was George Romero who was signed onto the project originally. I don't remember because it's been like years. This was before the Resident Evil movie got released, and there was a script leak. And I seem to recall that they originally had this idea to do the movie very similar to Part 1, Resident Evil 1. And it would have been great if they had done that because it would have been a great homage to the series of games. And you would have had all these recognizable characters. And it would have just been a film version of that. And I think that's what most people wanted. But instead, they came up with this bubblegum popcorn flick that I saw. And I was sitting here scratching my head like, what is this nonsense? I've had people come up to me and say, yeah, I really like Resident Evil. I really got into it because of the movies. And I just stare at them like, what is
The
your
movies
problem?
are nothing like the games. I mean, the movies. Well, I mean, some of the games did go the non-stop action route, but because
Yeah,
that's all the Resident Evil movie is
yeah,
just
I know.
a bunch of flips and kicking things in the head and gunshots and her pulling guns out in slow motion. It's
And
just a
probably
cheesy horror. It's a not horror film, a cheesy action film. That's all it is.
it's just a cheesy zombie action film. Yeah, it is. I mean, if that's what they want to do, then that's what it is. But whatever. I'd rather take another RE5, RE6, RE. I'd even take another RE4, or even if they wanted to return back to the old formula and just release a retro-looking game, I'd take that.
You know,
I would take any of that.
I realized today that I've played Resident Evil 4.
Really,
I played it for 2 hours,
I
and I
didn't like
got so fucking mad
it.
that I gave up.
Yeah, I
And
didn't
mind
like
you,
first.
this was at least 5 years ago, probably longer. I don't know when it came out, but I don't have a sense of time. And all I remember is I was this guy. I think I was Leon.
Yep.
Mind you, I don't know anything about this series, people, so calm down. Um, but I stumbled upon this village, but the village was run by zombies. It looked
Sort
as
of, yeah.
it kind of looked as if they were living as people in their zombie way. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I already wanted to shut it off because I didn't like that.
I didn't even care about the story. It was the controller that really
Well,
screwed up that game. The controls are so bad in that
that
game.
was my first annoyance. And then my second one was trying to engage in any kind of combat. Because I remember trying to get through this village and just getting annihilated because I couldn't shoot anything. And I couldn't
Yeah.
figure out why. I can't remember why now. It could probably was the controls, but I couldn't shoot a damn thing in that game. It was all over.
I mean, my
for me.
thing was, with Resident Evil, like they started off as basically pure horror survival games, and they were great. They were wonderful. I loved everything about those games. And they stayed that way for quite a while, and then they started going into the shooter genre. I think Part 4 was the first one where they went that direction, but Part 4, I think it got praised, if I'm not mistaken, when it first released. But then they went the direction of Part 5 and Part 6, and that's when they lost most fans. But I think what they did so well and so clever and so perfectly was they created one of the most exciting and perfectly paced co-op experiences on the console at that time. And even today, I think that holds up. Now, a lot of fans went away from it. They're like, oh, they've lost their way. But in my opinion, they stuck to the core characters. They stuck to the core background storyline. So it was this continuing story that was just evolving. And then with RE7, there's still going to be that connection to the Resident Evil universe. There is. Mm-hmm. But when I look at it, I don't see anything that reminds me of Resident Evil at all. And that's, I think, the hardest part for me and that's one of the reasons I won't touch it is because I'm just like, I'm not into standard horror. I usually stay away from horror games, but I'm really into Resident Evil. It's not even that. I just don't enjoy it. I just find it kind of boring.
I like anything that's psychological. I prefer like a thriller, I guess, more than horror. Because I never considered Silent Hill a horror game. That was more like a psychological adventure for me. And I dug that. And then it turned into like an action shooter once we got later in the games. But I don't know. Horror games, they're all the same. They're all the same.
Yeah, but I feel like we've talked about these two games so many times. And
listen, they're still relevant. The new game just came out. I just had to tell you because the movie released this weekend and people were talking about it.
Yeah.
Zetus Lupus.
Probably maybe it'll do better than the game. Who knows? And I saw there on Twitter like all these people begging people to buy the game. And I'm like, aren't you the assholes that were like bad-mouthing RE6? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go screw yourself.
Well, did you see that they have released the title for the new Star Wars movie?
Yes, I did.
How do you feel about Star Wars The Last Jedi as a title?
It's a pretty cool title. And as I've seen people point out before, Jedi is both plural and singular.
Yes.
And we also don't know what that means, like The Last Jedi. Are they talking about Luke and Rey? Or are they talking about Luke, Rey, and someone else?
Well, hadn't there been a time when they said that Luke was the last Jedi back in the original movies?
The original movies, no, not well, because even in the first one you had Obi-Wan, but then you had Yoda, and when Yoda dies, spoiler alert, everybody.
Whoa!
when Yoda dies, you have Luke. And even though he's a Sith, there's also Darth Vader. But also there's Leia, who has the potential to become a Jedi. And there's also the possibility of other Jedi who are still in hiding from after the war. So, no, I don't think that it's... In fact, in the novels that are now... I know they're not canon, but I think in the novels, Luke went out to try to find other Jedi and help train the younger Jedi who were coming up. So... I don't think there's ever been a point that I can think of where he's been the last of the last of the last, other than just maybe in the broader sense of the movies, maybe where fans just kind of casually come in and they're like, oh yeah, Luke, Last Jedi, I can see that.
See, but now, like, with The Last Jedi, this makes me think, like, this is it.
Oh, you mean like the it for the Jedi?
Like, this is it. Like, we're
Well, not
done.
necessarily. I mean, the Last Jedi could just be like, yeah, this is the last one standing, and then they bring more in, you know? It could just be the
It's an
beginning.
ominous title.
Yeah, but if they get rid of Jedi, then what Star Wars really have left? I
Yeah,
mean, there's always
it's
gotta.
very ominous.
It's like getting rid of wizards.
They were like, oh, look at our teaser poster when it's just stars in the title. And I'm like, guys, don't show us a teaser poster if it's just stars and the title. Calm down. But they're like,
I
oh,
thought a
it's
far
here.
more interesting title was the working title for the Solo movie called Red Cup, as a funny little inside joke. Well, not really an inside joke, public knowledge joke.
I don't know what
But
that means.
okay, the Red Cup, like red Solo cups, you know, like the red party cups.
Oh, LOL, I get it.
Yeah.
I need it explained to me, but I think it's funny now.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a stupid. I'm just a vapid human.
It's funny because I think that like if you live in another country, they're kind of called American party cups because the only time that people see those cups are when they're watching like teen movies from America, and like all the
That's
kids are
interesting.
drinking from those. And so if they ever have like American parties overseas, like you know like an American theme party, they'll usually make sure they get those red Solo cups because
Hold
that's
the
what
phone.
Americans drink.
They do American themed parties?
Yeah, people do American themed parties, same
How
as
fucking lame.
it's not lame, it's just silly. It's just a party theme.
No, I understand, but it's like out of every theme you could have, just American, just put on your fat suits and get a bunch of drunk people in a room with red
I
cups.
think it's just all in good fun, but okay, we could take it there too.
Well, no, I think it is. I think if you're gonna, have a theme party, an American one is like, like that's boring. But maybe to
Well, if you
them
don't
we're
live in
super
America,
interesting.
you know.
Maybe to them we're like crazy.
I don't think we're interesting. I think it's just, oh, that's silly American. Let's have a party. We'll do an American theme. We'll have red Solo cups.
I had no idea they did that.
Well, it's not like something that happens every day. It's, it's a theme party. You can
I
have theme
know.
parties
I'm
for
just
everything.
surprised that there's American theme parties.
Well, it's not like they're that numerous, I don't think. It's just,
Well,
yes,
they're probably not.
it could be a themed party somewhere, yes.
Oh, it's crazy. I learned something new today. But yeah, I thought the title was ominous, and that like we weren't gonna have any more Jedi,
No more
and
Jedi.
everyone's gonna die.
Everyone dies.
Anyway, I have to tell you something. Fucking A, Razzle, you're so difficult.
What?
Ark has added something that I need to mention to you. I know neither of us play Ark, neither of us have this game downloaded. But they have added two things, and I can't understand anymore.
All right.
They have added tech suits that are reminiscent of Mass Effect characters. And
Okay.
you have little jetpacks and whatnot. They have also added dinosaur jousting.
Well, I'm sure that'll be a lot of fun.
I wished I was dead the moment I read it. Because how ridiculous. Like, you took a game that, when it first came out, it was just dinosaurs. And being out in the wild, then you're like, no, we gotta add giants and crazy shit and tech suits and jousting? So now you can joust people atop your dinosaurs, your respective dinosaurs, and joust. Because that's what you do on an island of dinosaurs, is joust with them.
Yeah, everything about that game just screams desperate cash grab. Let's try to stay relevant. Let's do something crazy. But, yeah, that's Ark.
Meanwhile, while they're doing that, the Isle has started making humans playable in their game.
Oh, really?
And they've had the mercenary-like people and the tribal people, none of the monsters and such. And you can have nests with babies in them that are other players. And your dinosaur grows as you feed it and stuff. It gets bigger and stronger. That is a dinosaur game that I can get behind. It's just dinosaurs and people. Ain't no crazy shit going on. No tech suits. We're not jousting. I swear to God, if somebody asked Dondi to put jousting in the game, can you imagine the backlash from him? Hey, Dondi, can we joust? Can we ride these things and joust? Absolutely not. Would never happen. I read it today and I thought it was so ridiculous, but people are all over it. They think it's great and it's fun and something new to do with their friends on the internet.
And maybe one day playable compies too.
Oh, yeah, it's coming. You gotta give them time.
I'm giving them time. I'm being silly.
You
Come
calm
on.
down.
I'm calm.
You calm down. You need
Now,
to
can you
breathe.
imagine you put compies on another dinosaur and then they can go jousting?
Like the compies can like hold on to their tails, hold it in front of them like a jousting stick, and just poke the fuck out of another one that's running by.
Oh, yeah.
As long as it's realistic.
I mean, I think that sounds pretty realistic. I'm pretty sure
We'll
this
have
happened.
to ask Dondi. We'll get
Yeah,
banned.
I think if we get like a paleontologist or something down here to confirm it, I mean, I think we can do that.
Yeah, I mean,
That there was compy jousting. I think there might have been compy jousting. I think we just need to do a little research.
well, now I don't know if the humans are playable on public servers yet. I think it might be on Dev
Probably
Branch
not.
still, but you can see videos of it all over YouTube, of people. Mostly Insomnia has been posting them on YouTube of like how you can play as people now. It's still very early. This game is early access, as we've said before. But god damn it, if you're gonna buy a dinosaur game, don't buy Ark. For the love of Christ, just buy the Isle.
Does anybody buy Ark for dinosaurs anymore? I mean, I know that was the selling point originally because they were the first out the gate that really had this idea, but they implemented it so poorly that they just left the gate open ready for somebody to come in and swoop in and take it over. Now, as far as I know, they're still very successful with what they're doing with Ark, but I think that I would rather spend my time doing something with a game that takes its time with the AI system. But that's just me.
Yeah,
Just me.
which the Isle's been working on like crazy, and their AI system is still broken, but they've only got one person working on it, so it's there. Like there's stuff in the game that's AI, and it's scary to run into because you don't know that it's AI. You just think it's a person. You're like, hello, are we friends? Will you kill me? And sometimes the AI will kill you. It is not a good time. But it's just, Ark is not about dinosaurs anymore. It's a shit show. I don't know what it is. It's just they're throwing anything that people will put their hand out and grab. It's disgusting. I can't do it. But I had to mention that. I feel
Fair
like
enough.
I'm railing off all my things that I've discovered over the past week. Do you have anything you've done in the past week?
That I've done in the past week?
Yeah, like any news you've found? Any interesting adventures you've been on? What did you eat for breakfast?
Well, I watched the latest Mass Effect trailers that have come out. There's 4 of them now for the Pathfinder uploads on the masseffect.com.
Oh, not the
where we learned a little
trailers. Are you
bit.
talking about the initiative training videos?
Yeah, the initiative training
Those
videos.
aren't
Look,
trailers.
I'm doing my training shake.
Oh
I'm
my
getting
God.
ready. Like I have got to get. Look, it's going to be in 2 months. It's actually less than 2 months now. Holy
Yeah,
crap!
I don't need to be reminded.
Oh my God, I'm so excited right
I'm
now. And I
so
know
far
I've been.
behind.
I have shit on this game so much, and the reason is because I'm trying to lower my expectations here a bit because of past experience with this company. But I think if I lower it just enough, I might enjoy myself playing Mass Effect. So I'm trying to get excited, while at the same time I'm also trying to continue to shit on the game. So what do you think about these characters we've got here? Now, they've shown us we've got a daddy, we've got a sibling. And now the siblings seem pretty much identical except for where they studied. I think the sister character studied with Prothean artifacts.
Prothean artifact stuff. I forget what he did.
I can't remember what the brother was studying either. But Yeah, so they're only slightly different. It sounds like they'll be pretty much very similar backgrounds. Now, I would like it if they had semi-different backgrounds. So if you play both of them, you get different type information about both of them, you know. But that's just me
Well, I
because
think we
I'm going
will
to play
to a
both.
point. We'll
Well, I
definitely get
think so.
different info to a point because they had two different careers.
Yeah, but I mean that could be just as different as like when you have Shepard with the three different backgrounds and how it kind of plays into one mission and then it's never really mentioned fully again. It's just kind of hinted at here and there.
Yeah, like having Shepard have a background only mattered in the first game because they bring it up 1,000 times, and then after that, you never hear about it again.
No, I think the colonist background was the best. That was my first one, so maybe I'm biased, but I loved that little exchange there when you get to the Citadel and there's that girl there who used to live at the colony, and you just have that moment. I
Was
just
that
really
like when
enjoyed that.
is that the one where your parents were murdered and stuff?
Yeah, by the Batarian Raiders.
Yeah, I have that background.
Yeah, that was my favorite background.
I haven't met
Because it
anybody
was
on
the
the
most
Citadel
neutral.
though.
Because I remember looking at him, it's like Spacer, and I thought, that just sounds too goody two shoes. I feel like I'd be too military. I don't really want that. And then they had like the Earth one, and all I could picture was Newsies, like the musical. I don't know
Isn't that the
why.
one? Isn't that the background where you're? That's the one where you're the orphan, right?
Yeah, you're like the street rat.
Raised in the dump. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I never went with that one.
And then you had to pick the career one, which was Ruthless or War Hero, and then the other one was Survivor, where you like survived a really traumatic
Yeah,
experience.
Tour Fund.
Yeah. So my original character was Ruthless Colonist,
Oh
and I
no,
loved
Wait a minute. No, I went Ruthless. Our characters are the same.
it. Well, I'm talking about my original Mass Effect
Well,
character, like the
your
first
original
playthrough.
and my last one are the same.
That's neat.
Yeah, that's interesting.
We come from very different places, yet the same place too.
You know, it's just a weird way to live our lives. It all comes down to this moment.
So have you decided whether you're going to be brother Rider or sister Rider?
Well, it could
That
be.
sounded so wrong.
Are you riding the brother or sister? I'm. Hmm. Hmm. The brother's very pretty. If I get to be the brother, I'm not changing a damn thing about that face.
I knew you were going to say
Let
that.
me tell you something. But I don't know. I might have to go with the female one first, just to have like a so I can like bond more with my character.
That makes sense.
You know, like I'll do the female one first and then the male, because I'm gonna have to play that one twice.
Well, obviously, I'm going to have to play it twice too. I haven't decided which one I'm playing first, but I definitely am going to play both characters. I'll probably play them very differently, you know, but
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I hear there's a lot of people to shag on this adventure
Yeah,
we're
see,
going.
my first playthrough, I'm totally just gonna play it like it's me. I'm gonna whore myself all over the galaxy. I have to. Like,
I could just picture the first time you see a male Turian somewhere, and that's just going to be a very interesting
Well, because
moment.
I got prematurely excited during the first trailer where we met our crew, and I saw that Turian, and I was like, that one don't look right. That's a lady, no Turian. We'll see if she wants me. I don't know, does she? So, like, I'm looking at her all skeptical. I'm like, I gotta see what kind of Turian you are. Because most of the males are, like, heavy military, like, by the book guys, or they're just
Yeah.
douchebags. Like, there's, like, two types of Turian.
Yeah, there, and we've never really had a female Turian in a
No.
game,
So, like,
so this
she
is.
interests me. That's, like, an adventure for me. That's something I need to conquer, is that
So what do
woman.
we know about the women in their society? What do we know? Because we never really see them,
Nothing.
so we don't know
They don't,
anything.
and all the times I've played, because I'm obsessed with Turians, in case people don't know that about me, they don't talk about the women. You don't see them,
I
ever.
wonder if it's going to be similar to the Cardassians. Is that? Yeah, Cardassians from Star Trek. 'Cause if I remember right, I think the men in that society were like heavy military, but the women were heavy science.
Oh, yeah, well, this one doesn't, well, I
Like,
mean,
what is
she
her
can't
like?
be
I thought she was a scientist in this. I didn't know. I don't.
Well, I don't know if she's like on a ground team. I think she's with us like on the ground,
Well, she's got to be because she was accompanying a
but maybe
writer.
she's not as great like in the actual combat part of things. And is the Krogan that is with us a female or a male?
I don't
I'm
know.
so concerned about that because the female Krogans are so well protected for their baby making. Why are
That's
they
true.
letting this one out?
That would be weird, but at the same, because especially since this takes place during Mass Effect 2, like
Mm-hmm.
they leave during Mass Effect 2, so we haven't even had Part 3 happen yet. So I don't know. Like I don't know
So
if
and
it's
in
going to
this
be
in this version also, if they do have an arc of Krogan, they're still diseased from the genophage.
yeah, they would be.
So they need those females to be as protected as possible to be attempting to breed nearly constantly.
Maybe that has something to do with why they're going on this little adventure. Maybe they think if they get a change of atmosphere.
Krogan's got to have some kind of big stake in this, and they'd only bring Krogans with a brain, which is not all of them.
Well, I mean, if they're bringing a Krogan, you'd think they'd bring two.
Well, they
I like,
have to.
especially if they're sending a female
Well, because
Krogan.
each of them, each race has their own ship full of like a lot. Like I know what is it? The human one had like 20,000 on it or
Yeah, I
something.
think. I think.
So I would
I
assume
don't
each
remember.
arc has the same amount of people to have these functioning societies grow.
Well, I
So,
think it's the council races, right? Like that would
oh
be the
fuck them.
Asari, the Turians, and the Solarians. But I don't know. Like I've kind of looked into stuff and then I've not looked into other stuff, so I've kind of a little bit
They
clueless on
gotta
some
bring the Crow.
aspects. But
Well, then again, if we're in two, people still fucking hate the Krogan. So they probably
some
don't
people
want to
do,
bring the arc of
and it
Krogan
would
there.
it would bring a lot of tension with the Solarian, who I think is our pilot, which will be interesting. Um, but yeah, now if we're having a Krogan, I've never really liked any Krogans after Rex. I wasn't even a big Grunt fan because I was always comparing them to Rex. I was like, I liked Rex. Why can't Rex be with me right now? Like I
Well,
saved
you
him
killed
for a
him.
reason. Well, that's the weird thing is that if you don't, no, I did not kill him until the third one, and that
Oh.
was after he had changed into a completely different person. But in the first game, he was my buddy. Like he was the one that I was like, yeah, this guy and we're going to be together on every mission. And then they bring out part 2, and I don't have Rex, and they're like, here, have Grunt. I'm like, I don't want Grunt. Bring me
I
Rex.
don't want this
I
baby.
don't want this.
Bring me my
I don't want this
Rex.
knockoff.
I mean,
Bring me
I like
Rex.
that Rex was able to take control of his planet. And he was able to get them all thinking on the same page, even though a lot of them were not happy about it. I
Yeah.
like that Rex was able to do that for people, but he's not the sarcastic, witty without trying to be mercenary anymore when you meet him again. You're just like, oh shit.
I always felt they advanced that storyline a little fast anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, like I wanted more because he's on every mission I go on, and like his dialogue sometimes, like when you're talking to people, he's like when I had to just talk to the Rachni Queen, and he was like, oh, this is gonna be a fun conversation, and I'm like, damn it, Rex, I love you, so happy you got to live. But I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with the Krogan race. But if I'm starting as the female, I'm gonna totally play it like it's me, and I'm gonna do some things on every planet. And if this female Turian, I gotta see where she stands, because I gotta find out what it's all about. I've been with a male. I gotta see what the females are about. I've never even seen one, so she's like completely new territory. I'm gonna run into all these new aliens.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna, like, granted, there's ones I'm not sleeping with. Like, I'm not going near a Solarian. Sorry. And I'm not going near the Batarians either. Sorry.
Oh, the
And the
Batarians.
Asari, y'all can't trick me. I'm not doing it. I might actually be racist against the Asari. I really don't
You
like
might
them.
be.
I just don't. I can't get behind them. They're all so shitty. I haven't met one that I like. But maybe the one in the new game is nice. She seems to have more personality than the ones I'm used to.
She's definitely different than the other ones, yeah.
Yeah, she seems to have like a lot. She seems to be more human, if that's the right word. Like she's just got more spunk to her, from what I've seen. So I'm I'm giving PB a chance.
A lot of people have, of course, mentioned that they think Cora, I think her name is Cora Harper, will be related in some way to Jack Harper, the elusive man, which, may or may not be true. Could just be a happy coincidence that they have the same last name. But even if that's, because if we're looking at Mass Effect 2, then it seems very likely the elusive man would know if there is a ship going out to another planet. He might want something to do with it, so he would probably send somebody he trusts. And even if he didn't send her, Cerberus having a presence would make sense in some espionage way. But who knows what's going to happen?
Is like, I feel like if they had originally planned to have Andromeda as a game, there would have been some mention of this voyage in the second game somewhere.
Well, I mean, not necessarily, because playing a Shepard, you're not necessarily going to be aware of it.
Yeah, but like we're on the Citadel all the time and no one's talking about it.
Yeah, well, maybe it was more of a secret mission.
Maybe. Seems like a big fucking secret. 20,000 of each race.
Or maybe not so much a secret as maybe it just kind of is one of those things that people were talking about, but just not whenever you were around.
And we're like with the elusive man in the second game.
Well, why would the elusive man tell you about it? Like, if he's aware of it, then he has no need for you to know about it. He's not going to tell you about it.
I guess it's
He just wants you to focus on, taking down the collectors or whoever.
Well, how are you going to play it? You going to whore yourself around the galaxy?
I don't know what I'm going to do. I honestly don't. Like, I haven't even really thought a great deal about my character. Because when I play a BioWare game, I like to take a day or two before I play the game to think about the character I'm going to play and think about their background based on everything I know, and then start developing the personality of the character I want to play as. And then once I have that set, I start playing the game and I have a lot of fun. Like, sometimes I like to play a very opposite character to me. That's why I played such an asshole when I was Shepard. I love playing that anti-hero. Because you're not an asshole at all. Well, not in that way. I'm not like crazy xenophobic person going around and shooting aliens and stuff.
I guess not. No, not yet.
So, not yet. But no, I like playing a character who I'm not. I like having a little bit of evil in my character sometimes, and other times I like playing very noble characters. So it just depends on who. Like, looking at this, it reminds me of the Star Trek movies. So maybe I'll want to be more of a Captain Kirk type character, So I don't know. I mean, I kind of like the idea of playing a character who's a bit of a jackass, but in a lighthearted way, sort of like Kirk, like, because he's just charming as hell, and it's like, yeah.
It's like, it's okay. It's all right.
He's not a bad guy. He's just Kirk.
Yeah, I think when I switch over to the male rider, that's gonna be the one that I'm gonna have to like go crazy figuring out who I am, because that's what I did with this current playthrough of Mass Effect. I was like, okay, gotta make this character. Who are you? And it was really fun, so I'm gonna do that with the male one, but the female one, I got a whole world to explore, so I'm gonna soak that up.
I think if I'm not mistaken, the romances probably work like Inquisition, where they're tied to sexual orientation and things like that, if I'm not mistaken. So, you got to try like all the different romances, and if only some of them are available to female writer, well, you got to play female writer.
Well, yeah, I'm going to have to play both regardless, because if I can't get the female Turian, I have to do it on male. I have to get both sides of that coin discovered. What if she's related to Garrus, though? No, she can't be. She doesn't have the same tribal coloring on her face.
That would just be weird anyway. I think they'd want to, distance themselves from whatever they're doing with Mass Effect 1 and whatever.
You know what? Since we're on Mass Effect, I have a question.
Yeah.
Every time I play the first Mass Effect, I am reminded on how un-Turian Saren is. He looks like a fucking robot. He doesn't look like a Turian. He's like all wires and colors and cords. He doesn't look like a Turian at all.
He's not supposed to.
But he looks like a robot, like a synthetic.
He's supposed to, because he's been taken over by the Reapers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well then, all my questions have suddenly been answered. Because every time I see him, I'm just like, get the fuck out of here. You look like a freak. Like, your eyes are all robot. Like, you're a robot. You're not a Turian. Get out. And I'm
And like,
still having
I
a lot
imagine
of...
some of that was, to hold his jaw together or whatever the hell damage he has suffered in the past. Who even knows?
I don't know about all that.
Now, I remember I didn't really like Saren the first time I played the game because I kept comparing him to other BioWare villains of the time. And I felt like they did much better jobs in prior games than with that one. But, he in the grand scheme of things, he was a pretty good villain for the first Mass Effect.
I'm just waiting for him to die. I just need him to be gone.
See, I thought a much more clever idea would be to have him be like an Omen of ways. Like, I always kind of figured Shepard would eventually be in this position that Saren was in, where he would be having to choose between two extreme things and kind of go one way or the other. But in part 3, of course, you don't really have any choice over anything. You just kind of ride the tidal wave.
You're
Because they
just
kind of
like,
dropped
oh
the ball.
shit, close your eyes and just pick one. It's all the
Whereas
same.
they should have let you go, hey, do I want to go with Cerberus or do I want to go with the Alliance? Let us choose. Let us choose which way we want to save the galaxy and then suffer the consequences. But no, we can't do that. We have to do whatever the linear path tells us to do. So Mass Effect 3 got a huge thumbs down in terms of that for me. Still fun, though.
I liked 3.
It's dated. It's so dated now. I was trying to play it the other day.
Play the first one, then talk to me about dated.
No, you're right. Part 1 is very dated, but even part 3, like when I started playing it the other day, I was like, you know what? I've played so many shooters since this game, and now it's just hard to go back to it. So I really need Andromeda to just be updated with the new shooter mechanics so I can go in there and just have some fun, with my biotic abilities.
It hasn't been that long since I've played the series. This doesn't feel like it. Because the last time I played him was when I streamed him, and it doesn't feel like it was too long ago. But I can't remember a lot of stuff like how I used to.
Yeah.
But I gotta get back on that horse. I just gotta get
Less
this first
than
game.
2 months.
Once I get through this first game, everything will be a breeze. I'm only like 7 hours in, and I'm already done Noveria, Pharos, Vermeer's done. I just need to go to Ilos now.
Yep.
No, like the game's like really short. It's like 20 hours long max.
It is, unless you do like all the different planetary stuff and side junk and whatever.
I'm gonna be doing the side stuff, but not all of it, but the stuff that I know is kind of relevant. But I can't. The first game's so fucking bad. I can't sit through it. It's such a bad game. The conversations are great. Those will never get old. But anything gameplay-wise with that game is so fucking horrible to get through. Just because I've played everything else now, and I can't do it now. It's too much. I've gotten much better at being an adept, though.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I can play it. I use my moves. I realize some moves don't work on flying robot things, and that's a shame. But, I'm learning. I'm getting there.
So we never really discussed Crystal Skull, the final Indiana Jones movie. We went over the original trilogy last week.
Yeah, we did. We got that done
quick.
Yeah.
And so what did you think of the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
Okay, first of all, I'd like to send out an announcement to everybody who told me not to watch it. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Because this movie was not a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination. I thought it was really fun. It was an adventure film. It was funny, and seeing like Indiana as like an older guy who like he's obviously not as spry as he once was. That was a lot of fun for me to watch. They brought back older characters. They kind of like they paid respects to some of the other characters that have passed away. And it was I really liked it. I thought it was really great. Was I thrown off a little bit by seeing? Oh, I'm gonna spoil some shit for you people. By seeing a flying saucer at the end? Yeah, but those always look weird. I don't think there's ever a circumstance where I look at those and I'm not like, oh, you're cheesy. I think I always think that's cheesy. But like it made perfect sense for it to be there. I don't know. I really liked it, and I didn't even mind Shia LaBeouf, and I don't like him, and I liked that movie, and I liked him in it. I didn't think he was bad. I liked everything about it.
Yeah, I enjoyed. I think I told you this, but I enjoyed the movie when I saw it. I was away from all of the hype and everything because the movie had come and gone out of the theaters. I watched it at home. I believe I rented it or I saw it on a movie channel. I can't remember which, but I just sat down, I watched it, and I was just really excited from start to finish. I felt like it really captured Indiana Jones, the spirit of what that show and what that character became. And by show, of course, I mean the movies. And I thought it did everything really well, and I was really blown away the first time I went out and spoke to friends about it. I was like, yeah, I just saw the latest Indiana Jones. And I thought they were all going to say, oh, yeah, let's talk about it. But no, it was more like, oh, I'm sorry. And I found out really fast that a lot of people hated that movie. Like, not everybody, but there are a lot of people who just really hated the movie. And that's fine. People can hate whatever they want to hate. But at the end of the day, this was a Indiana Jones film. It felt like an Indiana Jones film. And there were some moments that are corny, but that's a staple of the series. And the whole thing that, it ended with, the aliens thing, but every single Indiana Jones has supernatural elements. The first one did, the second one did, the third one did, and certainly the fourth one does too. And I've also heard people mention the over-reliance on CGI, but I don't think it had an over-reliance on CGI. I think it had some corny shit in there on occasion, like Shia LaBeouf
sometimes
doing
needless.
Tarzan.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's just part of life. Whatever.
Yeah,
it's just a stupid little moment, not worth killing the show.
Yeah, I found all the complaints were just kind of, in my personal opinion, I thought they were like nitpicky complaints. Like, it's like just enjoy the movie. Like, how can you nitpick at this one and then in the same breath not tear apart the original three? Because you could tear apart the first three movies. They're all fucking cheesy, and they all do dumb shit. But if you like Indiana Jones, I just don't understand it. Like I don't understand the reason to. It seems nitpicky to me, the reasons that I've heard and that you've shared and that other people have shared. Some people don't even have valid reasoning for why they don't like it. They just don't. And that irritates me. Like, if you're going to dislike something, give me an argument. Like, tell me why, so we could discuss it. If you don't like the movie, that's fine. I'm just going to argue with you about it. And be like, well, I think it's like, well, I think this. But people don't want to do that. People are very angry. But I loved it. I loved it, and I thought everybody's complaints were just kind of eh.
And we just lost actor John Hurt, who was in Kingdom of the Skull. He played the crazy old man.
Oh my god, and we were both wondering who John Hurt was.
Yeah, for a minute there I was, because I know I recognized the name, and then when I looked into it, I realized he was Ollivanders from Harry Potter, and he was in all these other things. It's just that it's not a name that immediately clicks in my brain.
No.
But then when I look at the myriad of roles he's played, I'm like, oh, I've seen him in a lot of shit, and just never realized that was
don't remember
this
him.
guy.
Like, you're just, like, you know who he is, but then it's like it fades into the back of your mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
we
loved
lost
it.
him.
I thought that was great. I don't know. I think people are silly. I don't see a reason that makes sense to hate that movie. Because if you could sit through those first three movies, the fourth one's pretty damn good. I'm just gonna say, it's pretty good. And there was no damsel in fucking distress.
That's true. There was not.
Let me just tell you, and it's not that like. Granted, I find most women in movies irritating anyway, but I fucking hate a damsel in distress situation, especially when it's constant and it's ridiculous. So to see that this woman was self-sufficient and she was just like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna drive this car and be a badass. Like, I loved her in this movie, and I was just like, oh, she's not in distress. She's got her shit together. Good. Like, I was happy with that. Like, it wasn't about saving the girl again. which I
Well,
was.
I think that Last Crusade wasn't about saving the girl, even though there were elements of, Indiana Jones trying to save her, but in the same way that he was trying to save that guy with the mustache in the
Oh
last
yeah,
film.
no, Last Crusade wasn't as Yeah, no, Temple of Doom was the worst when it came to it.
Yeah,
It was the worst in
it's the
almost every
worst
way.
period. You could just
But
say it's the worst.
yeah,
And
it's just the worst. But that one was the worst one. The first one was like she was spunky, but she was still like needed to be saved all the time. Third one there wasn't as much of a focus, and she was a bad guy, so it worked out.
worked out very well.
And we're embarking on a new journey soon. We'll have a whole new
Oh,
discussion
goodness.
to have next week.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Whew.
Look at this. He's sweating already.
Oh, I tell you what.
We're finally taking that Lord of the Rings plunge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll
Yes.
be. We'll either have a lot to say or I'll ask and he'll be like, "Yeah, I hated it," and that'll be the end.
Yeah.
It could go one way or the other here, folks.
I mean, I know very little about it, but I know I think I know like the general gist of it. I think I know the general gist
of Lord of the Rings.
I do.
Did you really just generalize a whole series and be like, I got the gist of it?
I got the gist of it, I think.
I don't think so.
You take like a character from every race, like you take an elf, a human, a hobbit, a dwarf, and you put them together, and they have to take a ring, and they take it somewhere to do something.
You don't know where they're taking it or what they're doing with it?
I sort of know, but I don't officially know.
Okay, so what do you think? Tell me what you think you know.
Based
about
on what
this trilogy.
I've heard,
tell me what you think
like
is
secondhand, they're taking it to a volcano.
Okay, what do we do at the volcano though?
What do we do at the volcano?
Yeah, like why are we bringing it there? What's going on?
I don't know, but I assume that the ring has some mystical properties to it and magical powers or something.
Interesting.
So.
Interesting. You don't have the gist of it at all.
I do though. Like, yeah, you take the ring there.
What you're saying is a very large, like, it's like an overarching theme of the movie, of the trilogy. It's like that's the goal, is to go to this mountain. But that is not the gist of it. There's so much that's going to happen in the next, 11 hours of your life.
Jesus Christ. Actually, it's only 9 hours, I think.
Well, it depends.
It depends.
It depends. Like, we might have to dive into YouTube and look at some stuff and see some extended things.
Oh, God.
I might take you on a ride you didn't want to go on.
This will be interesting.
But we'll be doing that, and then after that, there will be the Hobbit trilogy.
Now, I'm actually a little bit looking forward to the Hobbit since it's got Mr. Watson in it.
Yes.
So
it's also got Sherlock.
Yeah, I know. You told me that Sherlock's in it too.
Yep, and he's even though he doesn't play a conventional character, he's still fully. I mean, I can tell you who he plays. It doesn't spoil anything.
What?
Because he plays Smaug. He plays the dragon.
Oh, so he voices a dragon.
No, he physically acts it too. He went to. It sounds crazy.
Wait a minute.
Did you think I was fucking with you? Because I'm not fucking with you.
Wait, hold your phone for a second. Let me envision this. Now let me tell you where my mind just went. My mind just went to like a children's play where like some crazy person gets up and starts flapping their arms like they got wings. I'm like, I'm a dragon.
No.
That's how I'm suddenly picturing this, and now I don't know if I'm excited about the Hobbit at all.
No. It's not like that. He studied reptiles, and then he could only record for so long because when you hear his voice in the movie, you won't know it's him. It is absolutely insane, and he lost his voice all the time because it was so hard for him to do this character. And he studied reptiles, and he went into like almost like a mocap suit. And I guess it is a mocap suit. And he got down on hands and knees. We'll have to watch it after we see the Hobbit movies. And he would all the movements that Smaug does is him, like physically doing that himself because he wanted to be that character. He wanted to act it. So all the movements are him. He was.
I'm just picturing a Saturday Night Live skit all of a sudden.
It's really, the thing is, like, when you see the movie, you're like, damn, that voice acting, damn, like, he physically did all this. But then when you see him in the suit on hands and knees, like, pressed to the ground like a fucking reptile, it's pretty funny. But he
Oh,
really,
jeez.
he put his soul into that shit. And he had a lot of fun doing it. It was really good. I think The Hobbit is, yeah, I think you'll like The Hobbit more, too. It's also got,
I don't know if I like it more or not. I'm just more excited
oh
about it
no,
because I know who the main
I think
character
you'll
is.
like it more. I think you will. I think it'll be a more, yeah. A lot of people like The Hobbit more than the original. But I like the original. And what's his name? The man who plays Gaston was in the Hobbit movies as well. He's in like the
Luke something.
Luke Evans.
Yeah.
How dare you? You're a disgrace. But yeah, that's a journey that's going to be had in the next couple of weeks. That'll be fun. Hopefully we have good things to say about it and Razzle's not just fucking like
I think the
killing
big
himself.
task will be for me to understand what's going on, and
Yeah.
that would be an interesting.
I think the first movie is going to be the hardest ride. Because they are trying to like shove information into your brain. They're like, just remember everything from the next 3 hours so we don't have to explain it ever again. It's
Oh, jeez.
it's pretty bad. But yeah, we'll be doing all that.
All right.
What else do I have here? Oh shit, we're at an hour. Well, speaking of Luke Evans, a new Beauty and the Beast trailer comes out tonight.
Yeah. Well, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, good talk.
Well, I mean, I know they just released those character portrait posters.
Yeah, all very attractive to look at, except Belle, but I'll deal with it.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm having mixed feelings about Belle.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. Emma Watson.
What do you got against Emma Watson?
I don't know yet. I'm gonna find out.
Oh, you're just gonna make something up.
I don't know. Just like I just don't like her. She really doesn't
my Commander
channel.
Ryder look just like Emma Watson.
Well, good.
And then I'm going to just post screenshots.
I'm just gonna
and
block
I'm just going
you.
to tag you on every single one of them.
I'm just gonna block you on Twitter.
It's gonna block.
Yep. Deleting your number, blocking you. Bye.
Oh my god.
I don't need that shit in my life. They've also announced something else that I know you don't care about.
Oh, this should be interesting.
June 22nd, 2018. Jurassic World 2.
I'm interested. I'll watch it.
Now, I think we should watch it because they have said that the tone is going to change dramatically. They're like, it's going to be just as action-packed as our last one.
Oh, God,
But
no.
guess what they have decided to do?
What did they decide to do?
Because I find it to be a bad move. They have decided with Jurassic World 2 they would like to turn the rest of the series into a horror movie.
Really?
Yes. And I vote no.
Well, I mean, it depends on how they do it. You know what? I'm open to the idea.
If they do
I'm
it
open
like,
to it.
they would need to be like suspenseful fucking, like, give me some of that scary shit from the original Jurassic Park with like raptors on the countertops. Like, that was scary for me. It still is.
Think about it like this. What if you had like a family vacation somewhere and then dinosaurs suddenly appear, or one dinosaur even? That could be a pretty interesting horror film.
Yeah, but that ends in 10 seconds.
Not necessarily. I mean, you have like tension building and stuff, and you could make an hour and a half out of that pretty easy.
And their teaser photo was like white construction caps with the Jurassic World logo on them. That was it. That's their teaser photo. And they said they would like to go a horror movie route. They want to go scarier, bigger. Please, no more hybrids. Please, don't do hybrid dinosaurs. Just stick to the original script.
Oh, God.
And don't let them communicate in different fucking tongues and shit. And have like, don't make dinosaurs human. Don't do that. Thing is, like, I was okay with the raptor training thing. I was cool with that. Like, understanding that he's the alpha and all that shit. Because I'm like, all right, that's a system I can understand. Because you can do that with other animals. Cool. But then they're like, the fucking raptor's having a moral dilemma at the end of the movie. And I'm like, come on. Stop. Just take that out. Like, don't give me any more of that. If you want to make it scary, fine. I'm skeptical. But
there's nothing wrong with being skeptical with that series because the last one was kind of a steaming pile of garbage.
Yeah.
But still, I'm open to the idea of changing it around if it helps the film. But I don't see how a horror film and an action film kind of go together. But hey,
well,
whatever floats their
Resident
boat.
Evil is considered action horror, so
And look how well that turned out.
it doesn't work. So they got I mean, because the original Jurassic Park, you could have easily made that a horror movie. Because that was scary all on its own. Like, if they just had thought about it like a horror film, it could have been so much scarier.
In fact, the lead-in with the novel sets it up sort of like a horror film, but it's more of a mystery, and I kind of like that. Like the first 100 pages of Jurassic Park, you don't even get to the park. You're just doing all the lead-up stuff, which is just really good stuff.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they want to take it in a new direction. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm still on the no train, but like, of course I'm gonna see it. I might change my mind, but I don't know. I'm curious. I'm gonna like it because there's dinosaurs, but I'm gonna end up liking it for dinosaurs and hating it as a movie, maybe, or maybe it's gonna be great. Maybe I'll like it on both ends.
Maybe you will. Maybe I will. Who knows?
And in other movie news, have you seen the released photo of the reboot for Ocean's 8?
No.
The cast has been revealed.
And who is the cast?
You're gonna like it.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Helena Bonham Carter.
Oh, okay.
She's
All
in
right.
it. Anne Hathaway. Who cares?
Well, she's good at what she does.
Fucking Catwoman.
Other
You
than
wanna talk about this
Catwoman.
shit?
Other than Catwoman,
Okay.
which was a disaster.
I'm just saying, ever since then, I have had a hole in my heart.
She was good in, what was it, Ella Enchanted, or was it?
Are you talking about
Princess
the
Diaries?
fucking... Yeah, when she's like the nerd that becomes a princess?
Well, there's that one, and then there's the Enchanted one, where she's like cursed.
I don't know. That's a different actress.
No, it's the same one.
Oh, I didn't watch that shit.
Well, you should have. It's a good movie.
So we've got them. Rihanna. I don't know what the purpose is. This is going to sound weird because it sounds like a water, but her name's Aquafina.
Aquafina, okay.
I don't know who that is.
I've sometimes sampled their products.
It's good water. It's okay water. I don't know about the person. Sarah Paulson. She's in the American Horror Story series.
Who did she play?
She was
Which one is she?
In the second one, in season 2, she was. I think she was the. Which season's the one where they're at the psych ward in New England?
Yeah, that's number 2.
She's one of the main people.
Was she a nun or was she a patient?
She's a lesbian, and they try to like get it out of her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think it's been a while.
Yeah, but it's Sarah Paulson. She plays a lesbian on a TV show. Happens to be a lesbian in real life. There you go. Factual things. Mindy Kaling is going to be in it. She's the Indian girl from Parks and Rec. Not Parks and Rec. No, The Office, Parks and Rec. I'm confused.
Okay,
I don't know.
okay.
She's Indian.
I think from The Office. I think I know
she's
who we're
on The
talking
Office.
about.
Yeah, it's The Office. I'm getting confused, but she's like really
Alright.
stupid and ditzy on the show. I don't know. Kate Blanchett. You don't like Kate Blanchett?
No, I like Kate Blanchett. We just saw her in Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
I just thought
and
it was
you're going to be
funny
seeing her in Lord of the Rings. It's really
Yeah,
great.
I know. You told me.
And then my favorite out of all of
Uh-huh.
these, Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock.
And you know she's going to be the fucking lead.
That makes sense.
Yeah, the picture that they released is fucking awesome. They're all on a subway looking badass. Miss Carter looks sickly out of all of them, but I think that's just her look.
Oh, come on.
She just looks sick all the time.
She doesn't look sick.
She's sick looking.
She doesn't look sick at all. What are you talking
like
about?
she's dying. Like she's just going to keel over
Not
at any
dying.
moment.
She's got her own style.
Is that what we call it? She's got her own style. It's called anorexia.
It's not anorexia. What?
But they'll all be in it. They're all. That's the cast. Matt Damon's gonna be doing a cameo.
Matt Damon.
Because he was in the original. Yeah, we know.
Is George Clooney gonna make a cameo?
We don't know. That's a good way to get me in the theater. That's a good way to get me to look at it on the big screen. But I don't know what's gonna happen.
I don't think I've seen any of them after the first one.
I
think
haven't
saw
seen
the first
any
one,
of them ever.
Wow.
I mean, you haven't seen the actual original, though, have you?
Not like the older one, no.
Like the Frank Sinatra one?
No, I saw the George Clooney one.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of them. None. So
Wow.
I have a journey to go on yet again. We still have to see the new Ghostbusters, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we do. We do. We need to make time to do that as well.
Yeah. Fuck, I gotta add that to the list. Because that movie had its own controversial fucking outbreak, too.
Every movie has a controversial outbreak these days.
But yeah, Ocean's 8 is coming, and I like the cast, so I'm gonna have to watch all of those now.
Makes sense. I guess I'll have to make time for those as well.
Yep, and it looks like, oh my god, I have more movie news.
Oh my goodness.
It's about Alien.
Alien?
Yeah.
John Hurt was in the original Alien.
He was.
Yeah, he had that alien come right out of his stomach.
Did you know the cast didn't even know about that?
Yeah, I know.
Like, they were all actually fucking terrified. So when you're watching that scene, the look on their face, that's pure. That's legitimate. That's like what the fuck just happened?
Scott back there just filming like a troll.
He's just like, I've ruined your life. Like, now how do you ever trust anybody after that? You're just like afraid something's gonna jump out at you all the time. He's just giggling about it. He's like, oh, raw emotion. But apparently after the original film, James Cameron had a lot to say about the rest of the franchise. And he believes that when he made his Alien movie, that
Part 2, Aliens.
Yep, that he thought that it was exactly what he wanted to do for it. He's proud of it. He thinks that he did a great job, paying the respect to the original that he wanted to. But after Aliens, he says the entire series is garbage. And
I agree with him.
And that it has done nothing but spiral to a place that he doesn't think they can come back from.
Well, I mean, anything can come back, but I do agree with him that after Aliens, they went to the shitter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
he's not proud of that series. He's like, nope. He's like, we had a really good thing with the original. He's like, and Ridley Scott really opened the door for a lot of people in film, and for he opened doors for what people could do, and really reimagined how sci-fi movies were being done. He's like, but after that, he's like, what happened with the rest of those movies was a mistake.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. Alien and Aliens are both classics in their own right, and like I have the quadrilogy, and I loved watching the behind-the-scenes stuff for both of those films, especially Aliens, because of how hard it was to get that movie off the ground, and just all of the crap they had to go through. But yeah, I mean, Part 3 is just garbage. And they set it up perfectly, too. Part 2 ends with you got these 3 great characters. You think, okay, well, the next film, they're going to have a great adventure. No. Part 3, let's just kill 2 of those characters off with no explanation at all except, oh, yeah, leak or something. And then there's that whole thing where there's an alien on the ship. Like, Ripley wouldn't have, looked around the whole fucking ship looking to make sure there's no alien after what happened in the first film.
She hasn't fucking been here before in this situation.
The exact same situation.
Yep.
And it's just ridiculous. The whole thing was just stupid. And then they introduce their only cool character they introduced. They kill him off pretty fast too, who was played by the same guy that played Muldoon in Jurassic Park, and I can't remember his name.
I can't either. I'm a horrible person. Yeah,
Part 3 is just boring. Part 3, after they kill Muldoon, it's boring. Part 4 is really bad. You can definitely see the early influences, because Joss Whedon did like the first script, and then they rewrote it to oblivion. But you can definitely see the beginnings of Firefly when you watch Alien Resurrection.
Yeah.
Like it's just kind of funny how you have like that kind of the buff guy who's called Christie, and then you have the buff guy in Firefly called Jane, and just like these similarities between every character on that ship and then the Firefly cast is kind of funny. But yeah, I agree with him. The frickin' franchise went to hell fast.
And I haven't seen. I never saw that one. What was it? Prometheus?
I did. I saw
I
Prometheus.
didn't see that. I know that was supposed to be a prequel.
Yeah, it is.
And I
I
didn't see
think
it
I
because
can't even remember.
I didn't want to. I didn't really have an interest. Like if it ever comes up,
Wait,
I'll watch it. But
I don't even know if that was a prequel. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it, but
it's in
it's
that it's supposed to be in the Alien universe.
someone brought up to me with that movie about how ridiculous the scientists act in Prometheus, and I know you haven't seen it yet,
Yeah.
but they had a good point because when I watch it, the scientists act like they're complete morons, completely unlike actual scientists. They just act like complete idiots. But yeah, and I remember in Aliens watching the documentaries where James Cameron's talking about the soldiers and how he just modeled them after disgruntled Vietnam War vets, and
Jesus.
said now that he understands more about the Marines, he never would have written them the way he did in that movie, because if you go back and watch that movie, they all act like Vietnam soldiers. But
I'm gonna have to
that's
pay
his
attention to
understanding of
that
war
now.
at that time.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Now,
But I love Aliens.
how did you feel did you ever watch when they did Alien versus Predator?
I never saw any of those films, and I have no intention of ever watching them.
Why?
Partly because I'm not a big fan of Predator. I'm not.
Well, Predator
I
on
don't.
its own sucks.
Yeah, that's my feeling.
I mean, I'm sorry. Anybody who likes that movie, good for you. I don't understand you. I think
Like, even
Predator
if I
sucks.
can get my head around Predator 1, Predator 2 is just so bad
Oh, I never even
that
watched the second one.
oh, it's bad.
Yeah,
It is a
after
bad
watching the
movie.
first one, I was just like, nope.
No, if you hated the first one, you won't like the second one. But I mean, in my opinion, the first one's the only one with any redeemable quality to it, and that's just that it's a straight up 80s action
Is
film.
the
And if that's what you want to watch, that's what it is. It's got Apollo Creed, it's got Jesse the Body Ventura, and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just go in there with that in mind, and you'll have fun.
Okay, so in the second movie, do they explain what the predators are?
I think that's the one where they kind of semi-hint that there's a connection between the aliens and the predators. But,
But do you
I
ever
think Bill
learn
Paxton
anything about the predators?
I don't remember. This was a long time ago. I just remember it's a really bad movie. It's a bad movie, and I never intend to watch it again.
Because when I watched Alien versus Predator, I didn't hate it. Like I actually like it. I think it's been a long time, but I thought it actually like you actually find out like what the predators are here for, like what their purpose is, which I think was completely made up on the spot just to give them relevance to be in the Alien universe, because apparently the predators summon the aliens to kill them, and they do it for sport.
Yeah, I just think the whole thing is stupid. Like, I wish there was never a connection between those two films, because I feel like Alien is way up high and Predator is way down low.
Oh yeah,
And it's just weird that those...
and the Alien versus Predator universe glorifies the predators. Like you're supposed to be on their side.
I know.
And it's like, I just wanna. But the aliens are so fucking superior to you. Like
aliens are just cool. I like the aliens. I'm like I don't know. I've heard from people who are big Predator fans who hate those movies. So I don't know if that's
I thought they were just fun. I thought they were fun. At least the first one.
They might be. See, I can't judge them because I've never seen them. So I'm not going to give you an opinion. I'm just going to tell you what I've heard. And I don't really intend to ever see it because I've heard such negative things about them. But, at the same time, yes, I would give them a chance. But at the same time, I'm like, do I really want to sit through these movies?
I didn't think they were too bad, but the predators end up working and with humans to take down aliens, and I'm like, God fucking damn it! Through the whole thing, I'm like, why are you doing this?
Well,
why are you turning two things that just should be bad into Like, you turning one into a good guy. Because I always thought the Predators looked really fucked up, and I just didn't like them. But that was just me, I guess.
I don't know. Like, all I know about Predator is really coming from Predator 1, because that's the one I would have seen most recently. So
I've only ever seen
the
the
idea
first
of those
Predator.
two fighting each other just doesn't excite me the way I think it does most fans, because I know they were very successful with their video game series and all that, and that's great and cool. And I know they had novels and stuff, and people have been wanting to see Alien versus Predator, and then they finally did it. And you know what? Great. I just am not one of those people that's like, yeah, I really want to see this happen. I'm more like, hey, why don't we go back to the original vision of Alien and maybe one day make a new Alien movie that just completely forgets about 3 and 4, which I thought was what Cameron was trying to do. That he was trying to get that movie off the ground that would have brought back Hicks and Ripley and had them go on an adventure together or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'd be all for it, because I'm like, hey, let's completely ignore 3 and 4. They were garbage. I'm completely in favor of pretending they never happened, and then we can just make a new movie, and we'll call it a trilogy. And that sounds good to me.
You know what? I mean, it's off the topic of aliens, but they like the idea. They directors love working with the idea of, like, fans want to see mashups between different things. Like, they want to see Alien versus Predator and all that stuff. Be it to this day, we still don't have a Jason Voorhees versus Michael Myers.
And hopefully we never will.
If we did, it would never end. That is an unwinnable situation, but we still don't have it.
I've never seen Michael Myers movies except for that terrible Rob Zombie movie, which I certainly shouldn't base Michael Myers off of.
Absolutely do not, because Rob Zombie is a blight on the planet and should be euthanized.
Well, what I'll do one day is I'll sit down and I'll watch those movies, and then I'll formulate an opinion.
Yeah, because they did Freddy vs. Jason, which I don't know who the fuck wanted that.
A lot of people wanted that going into it. I remember growing up, people kept talking about Freddy versus Jason. They wanted Freddy versus Jason to see which one would be the best, because those are the two that were always at the top. You know, Freddy and Jason, the two
Michael
horror
Myers
icons.
is like the third wheel.
Even though he was before them both, so
yeah, he's still just not as good. I don't know.
Yeah.
He doesn't stick with you the way, like, I was never afraid of Michael Myers the way, because I watched all these as a kid too, because I had a lack of parenting in my life. I would be little watching the Jason movies, and I was scared. And then, like, watching Freddy Krueger when I was young scared me a lot more. Like, he really terrified me because he was so creepy. But Michael Myers was never scary to me. I always thought he was silly. Even when I was, like, 5 years old. I was like, this guy's silly. He's stupid. But people have been asking for a Jason versus Michael.
Well, maybe one day. I know they were talking about Jason versus Freddy versus Ash.
What?
Yeah, you know, Ash from Evil Dead.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
Well, a lot of people want it to happen, so I'm just letting you know what people want to see. I don't really. I've never once been like, hey, let's do a mashup film.
Yeah, Freddy and Jason can't die, so nobody wins. The end. Like, it's not really. I don't know. I liked Freddy versus Jason though, so. But I'm just saying, we got an Alien versus Predator mashup when Predator wasn't even like a relevant set of movies compared.
Yes, they were.
Compared to the Alien movies, no. Predator is garbage.
I feel like you're comparing two different things, though. Like, yeah, survival horror versus action movies.
It's all this. But see, but once you combine two horror movie guys together, it becomes an action movie. It's no longer about the horror. It's about, like, people choosing
No, what I'm talking about
sides.
I'm talking about Alien, which is survival horror, and then you got Predator, which in my opinion is a straight up action movie. I mean, you got all these muscle meatheads going out into the forest to fight the Predator. That to me is not a horror film. That's straight up, unless you want to call it survival horror, which it might fall in the category of, like Aliens did. But I think Aliens did a better job because they
would
had
you really
more
call it
character.
survival horror though? Wouldn't it fall more into like a suspense thriller situation?
I wouldn't call anything about Predator
No,
suspense
I'm talking
thrilling,
about
but
Alien.
Aliens?
Yeah, I wouldn't
Aliens
say...
is straight up survival horror, period. It is the king of survival horror. It is the crisp de la croissala. I don't even know what I'm saying. But the point is, it's so good. Like,
creme de
was
la
there
creme
even
is what you were looking for.
the what?
Creme de la creme.
I think that is what I was trying to
It
say, but it's
was.
late in the evening
You're
and my
welcome.
words started to slur, and then I was like, you know what?
It's fine.
Screw
Whatever.
it.
Creme de la Marsala.
What
What?
I'm blah 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 blah. What
Yeah.
I'm trying to say is that the alien and the aliens, was there even really a decent survival horror movie before those movies? Maybe, but it certainly is going to pale in comparison to what Alien and Aliens did. Redefined everything. Now, I don't know if there was or not. I really don't, because I don't know much about cinema history, but Alien did a lot of things. Like, it was original, it was new. Nobody ever saw an alien pop out of somebody's stomach before, chest or whatever. Nobody saw that
Well,
before. That
it
never
did
happened
change
before.
the way that directors made sci-fi films after that.
Yeah.
After that movie, it really, like I said earlier, Ridley Scott opened the door for all these people to go like, wow, we never thought of that before. It was a really big deal when it came out because people hadn't been doing that. So Alien did kind of pave the way for sci-fi films for years to come after that.
Not to mention female leads in sci-fi films, because the beauty of what they did with Ripley there is they never wrote Ripley to be a female character. They never gendered any of their characters. They had a list of surnames and they wrote the story. And then in hindsight, they thought maybe Ripley could be a woman. In my opinion, that's probably why that film stands out, is because it's one of the very first that had this great, strong female character who was a total badass. And it took off from there. But, maybe more writers could take that into consideration when they're trying to write characters instead of turning into Temple of Doom female leads. But
Yeah, don't even
knows?
like if you just cancel out gendering your characters while you're making them.
Yeah.
It could be a little bit
And
more interesting.
I think that's another thing of why the Mass Effect trilogy was so well, because they didn't gender the character. They just created a character, and you could choose whether this character was a man or a woman, and
Well,
it was
wasn't
perfect.
well originally Mass Effect didn't have a female character.
What do you mean what do you mean originally?
Like, didn't they add FemShep later on?
What do you mean later on?
When the game was
Mass Effect has always had female characters you could select. Like even back in KOTOR, they had male or female.
Oh, I
Neverwinter
thought
Nights,
when
male
Mass
or
Effect
female.
first came out that you couldn't play as a female character.
What?
I don't
No.
know.
I played it. I played it before the game launched, and yes, you could create a female character.
Oh.
Yeah, BioWare games were you could always choose male or female in those games.
Well, now I know.
Yes, you do.
I had no idea. The more I fucking know, apparently.
Wow, where did you get that idea from? They just patched in a female
My
character?
head, apparently. It's all
Your
in
head.
my head.
Where did you get that idea? That's curious.
Don't fucking judge me.
No, I'm not judging you. I'm just curious where that came from.
I have no idea. I'm pulling shit out of my ass 90% of the time, and that was just something that I thought was a fact, and I was wrong. These things happen to me a lot. It's okay. I'm used to it. Whatever.
They patch in a female shepherd?
Leave me alone. I don't need your negativity in my life.
Oh my god.
But that's it. I have nothing else for you today.
All right. Well, that's pretty much it from me too.
Well, next week we will have some either really interesting conversation about Lord of the Rings or nothing. So look forward to those possibilities. It could be great. It could be horrible.
Next week also is our 50th episode of the Prattlecast, and we're also celebrating the end of our first year of podcasting. We've been doing it a full year, you guys.
Yeah, we have to do something special.
Yeah, we do.
I don't know what we're going to do.
I don't have a clue.
Maybe I'll just buy wine.
Just drink and get drunk on the podcast.
Why not? That's what we do for every other anniversary.
Pretty much.
See, there you go. It's fitting with our characters. We'll see. Anyway, what am I saying? Shit, I don't know how to end it now. I just forgot how to end the podcast. I've been here for a year.
If you guys want to support us, there's a Patreon.
Oh yeah, we've got a Patreon page.
Yeah.
The link to it is located in the information part of every single episode. And you can donate as little as $1. It's a monthly thing, and you get different perks depending on the amount that you spend monthly. All of it goes towards helping with this and the streams. That's what it's here for. So you can always do that. You can always leave reviews on the podcast and rate it, because that all really helps a lot more than you think it does. You can email us at thepratocast@gmail.com. Leave us a message on speakpipe.com/thepratocast. Every episode is uploaded on YouTube, so you can watch them there if you somehow don't watch them anywhere else. You can find us on Twitter as well under the Pratocast. Our personal Twitter handles are @ShakezillaTV and @Razzle_Dazzles. We stream together every Friday and Saturday between 3 and 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. This week, speaking of anniversaries, guys, Saturday, we are celebrating our 2-year anniversary of streaming.
Yeah.
And that is scheduled to begin at about, did we say 12? 12 my time, 2 your time? Did we say that?
Yes, that's what we said.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's scheduled to begin at 12. We've got some games lined up like The Forest, The Isle, and Farm Simulator. I know you're going, why Farm Simulator? I promise you it'll be so fun because it's us. We're going to be talking to ourselves. It'll be fantastic. It's going to be great. It's probably gonna be a long stream, so you can come hang out with us there on twitch.tv/ the same names as Twitter, Shigzilla TV and Razzle_Dazzles. You can follow us there and watch that as well. We've already gone over the Patreon, so I don't need to do that now. See, I was slipping into my autopilot, and now it's ruined because we already talked about it. Damn it. Anyway, that's all we've got for you this week. Until next time. Be nice to each other.